Hi everybody, and welcome back to Virtual Storytime at the Castle Shannon Library. This is our first virtual storytime of fall 2020, and we're doing things just a little bit different than we did in the spring and the summer. So normally we have 3 story times. We have one for our youngest peoples from birth through 3 years old, and then we have kind of a middle one that's for like 2 to 5 years old, and then we have a school age story time, which is from 4 to 7 years old, and it's normally after school. Well, we thought that it's so much more fun when we can all be together, especially now that we're online all the time. So we thought we would just have one great big story time for everybody. And the great thing about this great big story time is that because it's online, it goes up at 11 o'clock on Thursdays, but you can watch it anytime all week long. So if you are one of our friends that likes to get up early and you're our littlest ones and you like to be up and doing stuff before your nap, well, you can watch this at 11 o'clock, or you can watch it Friday mornings at 10 or 10:30 if that works better for you, or even earlier than that. If you are one of our friends that used to come to middle story time right before lunch, this is at 11 o'clock and it's probably still a pretty great time for you. So we hope that you will watch us just like you come and visit and like you've been watching 11:30 story time all spring and summer. And we also hope that if you are one of our school age friends that comes and visits and you are taking classes either online or you're going to your school building, well, we hope that you can watch this video. Even though it went up at 11 o'clock, we hope you can watch it after school. So that's why we decided to do just one story time. We'll still have a craft that goes along with our story. We will still do all the things that we've been doing at virtual story time, except we're just gonna have one of them instead of 3 of them on Thursdays. And as always, it's not Miss Christy's story time if something's not quite like she planned. So today we were gonna do the letter Y for our alphabet story time series because we're almost done. And we were gonna read a book called Fuzzy Yellow Duckling by Matthew Van Fleet. There are only 2 copies of that book in the whole county. And one of them is here at Castle Shannon. So when I went to check it out so that I could read it to you at story time, I found that somebody else had it checked out already. And somebody else had the other copy checked out that it's at a different library. So I put them on hold so they would get to me as soon as possible so that I could get your story time together with that book. And would you know that it didn't come at all? The book didn't come. So because we were gonna do the letter Y, and because we were gonna learn about the color yellow, I found a substitute book, and it is called Little Miss Sunshine. It's by Roger Hargreaves. So she's yellow, sunshine is yellow. Hint, hint, surprise. Our craft today, we are making paper plate suns, which are also yellow. So this goes along with it very well. But it was not the book that I had originally planned on reading. That's okay, we're still gonna have a good time. So this is Little Miss Sunshine. You'll have to forgive me, you can see it's a tiny book, so I might have to tilt it a little bit more so that I can see the words, but I will, of course, always still show you the pictures. Welcome to Miseryland. We say welcome, but there really isn't very much to welcome you about it. It's the most miserable place in the world. Miseryland worms look like this. And when the birds wake up in the morning in Miseryland, they don't start singing, they start crying. Oh, it really is an awful place. And the king of Miseryland is even worse. He sits on his throne all day long with tears streaming down his face. Oh, I'm so unhappy, he keeps sobbing over and over and over again. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Little Miss Sunshine had been on a vacation. She had a lovely time, and now she was driving home. She was whistling happily to herself as she drove along, when out of the corner of her eye, she saw a signpost. To Miseryland. Miseryland, she thought to herself. I've never heard of that before, and she turned off down the road. She came to a sign which read, "You are now entering Miseryland," and underneath it said, "Smiling, laughing, chuckling, giggling, forbidden by order of the king." If you have ever seen Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the little claymation video, doesn't this sound like the Burgermeister? I think he would love Miseryland. Oh dear, thought little Miss Sunshine as she drove along. She came to a castle with a huge door. A soldier stopped her. "What do you want?" he asked gloomily. "I want to see the king," smiled little Miss Sunshine. "You're under arrest," said the soldier. "But why?" asked little Miss Sunshine. "For a most serious crime," replied the soldier. "Most serious, indeed." The soldier marched little Miss Sunshine through the huge door and across a courtyard and through another huge door and up an enormous staircase and along a long corridor and through another huge door and into a gigantic room. And at the end of the gigantic room sat the king, crying his eyes out. "Your Highness," said the soldier, bowing low, "I have arrested this person for a most serious crime." The king stopped crying. "She smiled at me," said the soldier. There was a shocked silence. "She did what?" cried the king. "She smiled at me," repeated the soldier. "But why is smiling not allowed?" laughed little Miss Sunshine. "She laughed at me," cried the king. "Why not?" she chuckled. "She chuckled," cried the king. Little Miss Sunshine giggled. "She giggled," the king went on, and he burst into tears again. "But why are these things not allowed?" asked little Miss Sunshine. "Because this is Miseryland," wept the king, "and they've never been allowed," he sobbed. "Oh, I was so unhappy before you arrived," he wailed, "but now I'm twice as unhappy." Little Miss Sunshine looked at him. "But wouldn't you like to be happy?" she asked. "Of course I would," cried the king, "but how can I be? This is Miseryland." Little Miss Sunshine thought. "Come on," she said. "You can't talk to me like that," sobbed the king. "Don't be silly," she replied, and led him across the gigantic room and through the huge door and along the long corridor and down the enormous staircase and through the huge door and across the courtyard and through the huge door to her car. "Get in," she said. Little Miss Sunshine drove the crying king back to the large sign. "Dry your eyes," she said, and handed him a large handkerchief from her handbag. And then, from her handbag, she produced a large pen. 5 minutes later, she'd finished. Instead of saying, "You are now entering Miseryland," smiling, laughing, chuckling, giggling, forbidden by order of the king, do you know what it said now? What do you think it said? "You are now entering Laughterland. Smiling, laughing, chuckling, giggling, permitted by order of the king." "There," said little Miss Sunshine, "now you can be happy." "But I don't know how to be happy," sniffed the king. "I've never tried it." "Nonsense," said little Miss Sunshine. "It's really very easy," she smiled. The king tried a smile. "Not bad," she laughed. The king tried a laugh. "Getting better," she chuckled. The king tried that's a tongue twister. The king tried a chuckle. "You've got it," she giggled. The king looked at her. "So I have," he giggled. "I'm the king of Laughterland." As Little Miss Sunshine arrived home, there was Mr. Happy out for an evening stroll. "Hello," he grinned. "Where have you been?" "Miseryland," she replied. "Miseryland," he said. "I didn't know there was such a place." Little Miss Sunshine giggled. "Actually," she said, "there isn't." And that's the end. Why did she say there isn't such a place as Miseryland? Do you know? Do you remember? There's no such place as Miseryland because what is it now? It's Laughterland because she changed it. So that's our story about Little Miss Sunshine, who is yellow. Like I said, today's craft is paper plate suns. We're going to make suns out of paper plates, and those are also yellow. There are make and take kits available for the project, and this is our only story time today, so we hope to see you back here next week for all ages virtual story time at 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays. We hope you have a great day, and we can't wait to see you back at the library soon.